Dad told me, real men don't cry about cheating, after I found my wife in bed with my cousin. They all showed up to her baby shower, not mine. So I stopped paying Dad's business loan. 3 weeks later, bankruptcy papers arrived. All right, Reddit. Need to get this off my chest because the last 3 months have been absolutely nuclear. I 34 male just watched my entire family implode in real time. Buckle up because this gets messy. Let me start with some context. My dad ran, a commercial HVAC business. Started it from nothing back in the 90s. Built it up to about $2 million in annual revenue. Nothing massive, but solid. I work as a senior engineer at a tech company, pulling around $180,000 plus stock options. Different career paths, but we'd always been close. Or so I thought. My wife Emma, 32 female, and I had been married for 6 years. Met her through my cousin Derek, 31 male, back in college. They were friends first, introduced us at some party, and we hit it off. Derek was always the family golden boy. Charming, athletic, could talk his way into or out of anything. I was the steady one. Good grades, good job, bought a house at 28. Boring but reliable. Emma worked in marketing, made decent money, and we'd been trying for a baby for about 2 years. Had just started the IVF process, actually. Dropped about $15,000 on the first round. We were optimistic, excited, planning nursery colors and arguing about names. The fertility clinic appointments were brutal. Sitting in those waiting rooms surrounded by other couples, all of us pretending we weren't desperately hoping for something that might never happen. Emma would squeeze my hand during the procedures, and I'd tell her we were in this together. Whatever it took. Joke's on me, I guess. Meanwhile, my girlfriend Sarah, 29 female, yeah, I know how this sounds, but stay with me, was 7 months pregnant with my kid. Before you grab your pitchforks, Emma and I had been separated for 4 months when I met Sarah. The divorce wasn't finalized yet because Emma kept dragging it out, but we were done. Completely done. Let me back up. 4 months ago, I came home early from a work trip. Had a presentation in Seattle that got canceled last minute, so instead of staying the night, I caught an earlier flight back. Landed around 8 p.m., didn't tell Emma, because I figured I'd surprise her with takeout from her favorite Thai place. The flight back was one of those rare smooth ones where you actually arrive early. I remember texting Emma from the airport saying the presentation got canceled, asking if she wanted anything from that Vietnamese place near our house. She replied fast, "Just tired, going to bed early. Get yourself something." Should have been a red flag. Emma never went to bed before 11 p.m. Walked into my own house to find my wife riding my cousin on our couch. Our couch. The one we'd spent 3 weekends shopping for because Emma insisted we needed something that made a statement. It was making a statement, all right. The next 30 seconds were this weird slow-motion thing where nobody moved. Emma scrambled off Derek, trying to cover herself with a throw pillow. Derek just sat there looking like a deer in headlights, dick still half hard. And me? I just stood in the doorway holding pad thai and green curry, watching my marriage die in real time. The smell of lemongrass and basil mixed with the obvious sex smell in the room. Our wedding photo was literally visible on the wall behind them. 6 years of marriage reduced to this moment. There was a bottle of wine on the coffee table. The expensive stuff from our anniversary trip to Napa. Guess they were celebrating. "It's not what it looks like," Emma started, which is possibly the dumbest thing anyone's ever said while naked on a couch. I laughed. Actually laughed. "What exactly does it look like then? Because from here, it looks like you're fucking my cousin." Derek started reaching for his pants, hands shaking. "Bro, let me explain. Get out." My voice was calm. Too calm. "Both of you. Get the fuck out of my house." Emma tried the tears. The excuses. It just happened. They didn't mean for it to happen. It was a mistake. She was sobbing, mascara running, trying to pull on her dress while maintaining some shred of dignity. There was no dignity left to maintain. Derek was pulling on his jeans, hopping on one foot like some kind of fucked up comedy routine. His shirt was inside out. His phone kept buzzing on the floor. Probably his girlfriend, the one he'd been dating for 6 months. Yeah, Derek had a girlfriend too. Real stand-up guy. "How long?" I asked. 2 months, Derek admitted. At least he had the balls to be honest about that. His voice cracked when he said it. Good. 2 months. 8 weeks. 60 days of coming home to my wife, kissing her goodnight, planning our future baby, while she was screwing my cousin behind my back. The IVF appointments we'd been going to? She was fucking Derek the same days we were trying to get her pregnant with my kid. I did the math later. That morning I drove Emma to her egg retrieval procedure, held her hand while she was nervous about the anesthesia, promised we'd get through this together. Derek had texted her "miss you" at 10:47 a.m. I know because I checked phone records during the divorce. They'd been texting all morning while I was being a supportive husband. The math made me sick. I told them they had 10 minutes to get dressed and get out. Stood there watching them scramble for clothes like teenagers caught by parents. Derek couldn't look at me. Emma kept trying to talk, to explain, to make it somehow less awful than it was. "The IVF?" she started. "We can still—" "Are you actually insane? You think I'm going to have a kid with you now? Get the fuck out of my house before I do something we all regret." Derek grabbed his shoes and practically ran for the door. Emma lingered, still trying to salvage something. "Where am I supposed to go?" she asked. "Call Derek. Call your mom. Call anyone who gives a shit. Just get out of my house." She left crying. I watched her pull away in her car, the one I'd co-signed for, and felt absolutely nothing. Numbness. Like my brain couldn't process what had just happened. So it just shut down emotional response entirely. Then I called my lawyer. By midnight, I'd filed for separation. By the end of the week, I'd moved into a corporate housing unit and started divorce proceedings. Called my dad the next day because, I don't know, you're supposed to tell your parents when your marriage explodes. Needed someone on my side. Someone who'd be angry for me. What I got instead was a lecture about modern masculinity. "Real men don't cry about cheating," Dad said over the phone. His voice had that disappointed edge he usually reserved for when I was a kid and brought home a B instead of an A. "This happens sometimes. You work it out. You don't just throw away a marriage." I stared at my phone, genuinely wondering if we had a bad connection. She was sleeping with Derek, your nephew, on our couch. Derek's a good kid. Probably just made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. This was 2 months of deliberate choices. "You're being dramatic. Emma's a good woman. Maybe you weren't paying enough attention at home. You work a lot. Maybe this is partially on you?" There it was. Somehow, this was my fault. Dad kept going, warming up to his theme. "Your mother and I had our rough patches. But we didn't just quit. That's what's wrong with your generation. No commitment. First sign of trouble, you run. First sign of trouble, I found them fucking in my living room. Language. And yes, that's what I'm saying. If you'd been a better husband, maybe she wouldn't have..." I hung up. Didn't trust myself to keep talking without saying something I'd regret. Sat there in my empty corporate apartment, staring at white walls, wondering when my life had turned into this nightmare. The place came furnished with this generic beige furniture that looked like it came from an office supply catalog. Didn't even have my own bed, just some queen-sized mattress that probably 100 other people had slept on during their own life crises. Later found out Dad had already talked to Derek, told him it would blow over, and I just needed time to cool down. Like I was throwing a tantrum over a broken toy instead of reacting to infidelity. Called Mom that night to see if she'd at least be sympathetic. She was crying, but not for the reason I expected. "This is going to tear the family apart," she sobbed. "Derek feels terrible. Can't you just forgive him? For the family? What about Emma? Does she feel terrible too? She made a mistake. She's devastated. Her whole life is falling apart. Good. Maybe she should have thought about that before screwing my cousin. Don't be cruel. She needs support right now. We all need to come together." Mom kept going. Apparently, Emma had already called her, crying about how I'd thrown her out, how she had nowhere to go, how scared she was. Mom had offered to let her stay in our guest room. My mother was offering my cheating wife a place to stay. You offered her what? She has nowhere to go. She's family. She stopped being family when she started fucking Derek. That language isn't necessary. And I raised you better than to abandon people when they need help. That's when I realized I was the problem. Not Derek for sleeping with my wife, not Emma for cheating, me for having the audacity to be upset about it. Here's where the financial stuff gets relevant. Back in 2018, Dad's HVAC business hit a rough patch. Some equipment failure led to a bad job, which led to a lawsuit, which led to cash flow problems. He needed $250,000 to stay afloat. The details were ugly. He'd installed a commercial system in a hotel that failed spectacularly during a heat wave, caused thousands in damages, got sued for negligence, and his insurance didn't cover all of it because of some technicality about maintenance logs. The hotel owner was this guy named Brennan, who Dad had gone to high school with, made it personal, dragged it out in court for 8 months. Dad was stressing so hard during that time, he ended up in the ER twice with chest pains. Turned out to be panic attacks, but the medical bills didn't help his situation. Banks wouldn't touch him. Combination of the lawsuit and his debt-to-income ratio. He came to me, said if I could just help him out, he'd have me paid back in 3 years. would even put it in writing. I'd just gotten a big promotion, had the cash sitting in investments, figured helping family was the right thing to do. What kind of asshole doesn't believe his dad? We sat in his office, this cramped space above the warehouse that always smelled like motor oil and coffee, and drew up actual loan documents. $250,000 at 3% interest, 5-year term, monthly payments of $4,493. All official, notarized, legal. You're saving my life here, son, he said when we signed. I won't forget this. He actually had tears in his eyes. We shook hands like businessmen. He took me out for steaks that night, talked about how proud he was, how I was securing the family legacy. I felt like $1,000,000, finally earning Dad's respect on an adult level. I believed him, felt good even, being able to help, felt like we were partners, like I'd finally earned some respect in his eyes. For 4 years, I watched those payments hit my account like clockwork, never missed one. By the time Emma cheated, he'd paid back about $180,000, still owed around $70,000, but we were on track. Then the cheating happened. Then Dad's man up speech. Then everything that followed. Met Sarah about 2 weeks after moving out. Was grabbing coffee at this place near my office, and she was behind me in line. Dropped her phone, I picked it up. We started talking. Simple as that. She was a pediatric nurse. Had this direct way of speaking that I appreciated. No games. When I mentioned I was going through a divorce, she was sympathetic but straightforward. That sucks. How long? 6 years? Kids? Not yet. We were doing IVF. Double sucks then. We started talking. Turned into coffee dates, then actual dates. I was upfront about everything. The divorce wasn't final, things were messy. I wasn't looking for anything serious. She said she wasn't either. She'd gotten out of a long-term relationship a few months earlier and was just enjoying being single. Sarah was different from Emma in every way. Where Emma needed constant validation, Sarah was comfortable in her own skin. Where Emma played games about where to eat or what movie to watch, Sarah just said what she wanted. Where Emma got upset if I didn't immediately understand her subtle hints, Sarah communicated like an actual adult. Our first real date, Sarah showed up in jeans and a hoodie. Emma would have spent 2 hours getting ready and another 30 minutes subtly fishing for compliments. Sarah just walked up and said, "I'm starving. Where we eating?" We went to this burger place near the waterfront. She ordered a bacon cheeseburger and actually ate it instead of picking at a salad while claiming she wasn't hungry. Told me about her job, about dealing with sick kids and their terrified parents, about why she became a nurse after her little brother spent 6 months in pediatric oncology when they were teenagers. He beat it, she said. But watching him go through that, watching those other families, I wanted to help. Probably sounds corny. Sounds like you give a shit about something. That's not corny. 3 months in, she told me she was pregnant. We'd been careful. Not perfect, but careful. Life finds a way, apparently. She gave me an out immediately. I'm keeping it, she said, sitting in my apartment on a Tuesday night. But I'm not asking you for anything. If you want to be involved, great. If not, I'll handle it myself. That straightforward thing again. No manipulation, no ultimatums, just facts. Spent a week thinking about it. My divorce wasn't even close to final. My wife had cheated on me. My family was treating me like I was overreacting. And now I had a kid coming with someone I'd known for 12 weeks. But here's what I realized. Sarah was the first person in months who hadn't lied to me, manipulated me, or made me feel like my feelings were invalid. She was having my kid. I wanted to be there. Told her I was in. All in. We'd figure it out together. She cried. First time I'd seen her cry. Said she'd been terrified I'd bail. I don't bail, I told her. I'm apparently the boring, reliable one. Comes with the territory. We moved in together a month later. Probably too fast. But fuck it. Everything else was already complicated. Might as well keep the momentum going. Her parents flew out to meet me in early spring. I was nervous as hell. Meeting your pregnant girlfriend's parents when you're still legally married to someone else isn't exactly a Hallmark movie scenario. But her dad just shook my hand, looked me in the eye, and said, "You treating her right? Doing my best. Good enough. Let's get lunch." That was it. No judgment. No lectures about morality. Just acceptance. Her mom hugged me at the restaurant and said, "Sarah told us everything. About your wife, about your family. I'm sorry you're going through that, but we're glad you're stepping up for our daughter." Stepping up. Like it was even a question. Sarah was having my kid. Of course I was stepping up. But the fact that her parents thought that was noteworthy, that they'd clearly seen enough guys bail to be genuinely impressed, said something about the world we live in. Sarah and I planned a small baby shower for early November. Nothing fancy. Her parents were flying in from Wisconsin. My buddy Mark was coming. Maybe 20 people total. Rented a room at this local restaurant. Had a barbecue theme because that's what Sarah wanted. Sent invites to my family in September. Mom, Dad, my sister Jen, Uncle Mike, Aunt Carol, the usual suspects. Made it clear in the invite, celebrating the arrival of baby Cooper. Please join us in welcoming our son. Our son, my first kid, should have been a big deal, right? Got exactly 0 RSVPs. Called mom about 3 weeks before to follow up. She was weird about it. Evasive. We're not sure we can make it, she said. It's on a Saturday afternoon. What's the conflict? Long pause. Well, Emma's having her baby shower that day too. Emma's baby shower. My soon-to-be ex-wife who'd been sleeping with my cousin. That Emma. She's pregnant? I asked, already knowing the answer. 4 months. Didn't Derek tell you? Derek hadn't told me shit because Derek and I hadn't spoken since I threw him out of my house. Let me get this straight, I said, voice level. Emma, who I'm literally divorcing for cheating on me with Derek, is pregnant with his kid, and you're all going to her baby shower instead of mine? It's not instead of, it's just, she invited us first. And Derek's family. We have to support him. I'm family. I'm your actual son. You know what I mean? This is complicated for everyone. Complicated, right. Cool. Have fun. Hung up before she could say anything else. Checked Facebook later that day. Emma had posted the baby shower invite publicly. Cute little jungle theme with elephants. Registry linked to Target. Comments from all my family members saying they'd be there. Aunt Carol even commented, "Can't wait to celebrate this little miracle." Little miracle. She was celebrating the pregnancy that resulted from my wife cheating on me with my cousin. The Facebook post had 47 likes. I recognized most of the names. Cousins, family friends, people who'd been at my wedding. People who knew exactly what Emma and Derek had done. And they were all clicking like and leaving heart emojis like this was some beautiful love story instead of the wreckage of 2 relationships. Called Jen next. My sister. The one person I thought might have my back. Are you seriously going to Emma's baby shower? She sighed. Look, it's awkward, but Emma reached out personally. She's trying to make amends. And Derek's really struggling with how you've cut him off. They need support. They need support? I found them fucking in my living room. That was months ago. Don't you think it's time to move past it? Life happens. People make mistakes. You've moved on with Sarah, so why can't they move on together? Because Sarah wasn't married to you when I met her. Because Sarah didn't cheat on someone in our family. Because those are completely different situations and you know it. You're being stubborn. Dad said you were acting like this. Dad said what? That you're holding a grudge. That you've always been overly sensitive. That you can't just let things go and move forward. Overly sensitive. Because being upset about infidelity is somehow a character flaw. Jen kept going. Emma feels terrible about everything. She wanted to invite you to her shower too, actually. As like a peace offering. She wanted to invite me to celebrate the baby she's having with Derek. The Derek who fucked her while we were married. See, this is what I'm talking about. You're so angry about everything. Maybe if you worked on that anger, you could be part of the family again. Don't bother coming to mine then, I said. Stay home. Go to Emma's. I don't give a fuck anymore. You're really going to uninvite your own family? You uninvited yourselves when you picked her over me? Blocked her number right there. The day of the baby shower arrived. Sarah's parents flew in Thursday night. Her mom spent Friday helping us set up, gossiping about her book club, and asking gentle questions about my family situation. When I told her none of them were coming, she just hugged me and said, "Well, we're here." And we're excited. Her dad, this quiet guy who'd been a machinist for 40 years, pulled me aside while we were setting up chairs. "My daughter really loves you," he said. "I can tell you love her too. Whatever's happening with your folks, that's on them. You focus on your family now." This family hit me harder than I expected. Had to step outside for a minute. The shower itself was great. Mark showed up with his wife and kids. Sarah's friends from nursing school came through. Her parents were wonderful. We grilled burgers, played stupid baby games, and opened gifts. Sarah looked happy. Really happy. Around 3 p.m., my phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. "Hey, it's Derek. Just wanted to say congrats on the baby. No hard feelings?" Stared at that message for a solid minute. No hard feelings? Like he'd accidentally scratched my car instead of destroying my marriage. Deleted it. Blocked the number. Checked Instagram that night because I'm a glutton for punishment. Emma's shower had been at my parents' house. Full spread. Catering, decorations, professional photos. Mom had tagged everyone. Jen, Aunt Carol, Uncle Mike, cousins I barely talked to. Every single one of them was there, smiling, celebrating. Dad was in several photos, holding up a onesie that said, Future HVAC Tech, and laughing. Another photo showed him with his arm around Derek, both of them grinning. The caption Mom wrote, So blessed to be welcoming our newest grandbaby. Family is everything. Not one of them had texted me that day. Not even a, sorry we missed it. That's when I made my decision. Monday morning, I called my lawyer. Not the divorce lawyer, my business lawyer. Guy named Richard, who I'd worked with on some contract reviews for my company. I need to understand something, I said. I have a loan agreement with my father. Personal loan. All documented. What happens if I stop collecting payments? Depends on the agreement terms. Most personal loans have acceleration clauses. You could call the full amount due immediately if payments stop. And if he can't pay, you could sue for the balance or sell the debt to a collection agency at a discount. Why? Just exploring options. Pulled out the loan documents that night. Read through every line. Sure enough, there was an acceleration clause I'd barely looked at when we signed. If the borrower missed 2 consecutive payments or failed to make payments for 60 days, the full remaining balance became immediately due. Simple enough. The next payment was due the 1st of the month, December 1st. Usually hit my account like clockwork, around 9 a.m. December 1st came and went. No payment. Called Dad that afternoon. Hey, just checking in. Didn't see this month's loan payment hit. Oh yeah, meant to talk to you about that. Things are tight this month with the holidays. Was thinking I could skip December and just add it to the end? That's not how the loan works. Come on, it's 1 month. I've been paying you for 4 years. Think I can get a little grace period here? The agreement doesn't have a grace period clause. Jesus Christ, are you serious? It's family money. Stop acting like a bank. It's a loan. That's literally how loans work. After everything with this divorce situation, you can't even cut me some slack? This is exactly what I'm talking about. You hold grudges. Can't just let things go. The payment's due by the 1st. You've got until end of business day. Or what? You going to sue your own father? The contract says 2 missed payments triggers acceleration. So yeah, if you miss 2 months, the entire balance becomes due immediately. All $70,000. Long silence. You wouldn't actually do that. Try me. He missed January too. February 3rd, I filed a motion to accelerate the loan. Full $70,000 due immediately. Dad had 30 days to pay, or I'd pursue legal action. He called that night, screaming about betrayal and family loyalty. How could I do this to him? After he raised me? After everything he'd done for me? You mean like supporting Emma's pregnancy? Like going to her baby shower instead of mine? That kind of everything? That was your mother's decision. I just went along to keep the peace. You told me to man up. You told me I was being dramatic. You told Derek it would blow over. You took their side. I tried to help you see reason. You're throwing away relationships over this. No, Dad. You threw away our relationship when you chose them over me. And you took my money for granted while doing it. I'll pay you back. Just give me time. You've got 30 days. That's what the contract says. He didn't have it. I knew he didn't have it. The business was still running, but $70,000 in liquid cash? No chance. He'd been reinvesting everything back into equipment and payroll. 2 weeks later, got a call from his business accountant. Guy I'd actually met a few times. Professional dude. Very by the book. Need to give you a heads up, he said. Your father's asking me to restructure some things to cover a debt. He showed me your loan agreement. You actually pursuing this? Yeah. Thought you should know. He can't cover it without gutting operational reserves. If he pulls that cash out, he can't make payroll next month. The business will fold. That his problem or mine? Just wanted you to have all the information. I thanked him and hung up. Here's the thing. I'd spent 6 years building up that business alongside Dad. Not officially, I had my own career. But I'd helped him modernize systems, set up his website, even helped land a few major contracts through my network. I knew that business inside and out. I knew his biggest clients. I knew which ones paid on time and which ones were nightmares. I knew that the Wilson account brought in $40,000 annually, but required 3 service calls a month. I knew that the courthouse contract was easy money, but politically sensitive. I knew everything. I also knew it couldn't survive a $70,000 hit. Part of me felt sick about it. This was my dad's life work, 30 years of building something from nothing, and I was about to destroy it over family drama and missed loan payments. But another part of me, the part that was still raw from finding Emma on my couch, from Dad's man-up speech, from watching my entire family celebrate my wife's affair baby while ignoring my son, That part felt nothing but cold satisfaction. March 1st, the deadline hit. No payment, no communication, nothing. March 3rd, I filed for the full balance due, plus accrued interest and legal fees. My lawyer estimated it would take 60 to 90 days to work through the system. March 15th, Dad called. His voice was different, smaller. They're threatening to take the business, he said. Who's they? The bank. Once this lawsuit hit, they reviewed my financials, saw the outstanding debt, called all my operating loans due. I can't cover everything. I'm going under. Should have made your payment. Please, I'm asking you as your father. Drop this. Let me keep my business. Did you ask Emma and Derek to not fuck on my couch? Did you ask them to respect my marriage? Did you ask anyone to maybe show up to my son's baby shower? That's not the same thing. You're right. It's worse. Because this is business. This is a contract. This is you thinking you could fuck me over financially because we're related and I wouldn't do anything about it. You were wrong. I'll lose everything. Welcome to the club. He hung up. Haven't talked to him since. By April, Dad's HVAC business had filed Chapter 7. Complete liquidation. 30 years of work, gone. The building got sold to cover debts. Equipment auctioned off. Employees laid off. He lost the business, a big chunk of his retirement savings, and his reputation in the industry. Got a call from one of his former employees, guy named Martinez, who'd been with him for 15 years. Just wanted you to know what happened, Martinez said. Your dad had to let us all go. Couldn't even give us severance. Some of us got families, you know. I know. Cold way to handle it, man. Whatever beef you got with your pops, we didn't do nothing. You're right, but your boss should have paid his debts. Fair enough. Just thought you should know the damage. That call stuck with me more than I expected. Those guys losing their jobs wasn't part of the plan, but neither was my dad missing payments and expecting me to just swallow it. Word spread fast in the industry. Dad had been part of the local HVAC Contractors Association for 20 years. Within a week of the bankruptcy filing, he was getting calls from other contractors, some sympathetic, some asking what the hell happened. A few even called me, trying to understand why I'd destroyed my own father's business. He didn't pay his loan, I told each of them. Simple as that. Mom called exactly once, crying about how I destroyed the family. How could I be so cruel? Didn't I care about anyone but myself? Where was this energy when Emma was fucking Derek? I asked. Where was this concern when you all chose her baby shower over mine? That's different. That's about forgiveness. This is about money. No, this is about consequences. You all thought I'd just swallow the disrespect and keep writing checks. You were wrong. She hasn't called back. Jen sent a long text about how I was dead to her, how she couldn't believe she was related to someone so heartless, how Dad was devastated, and it was all my fault. Blocked her too. Derek actually showed up at my apartment in May. Emma was with him, very pregnant, looking exhausted. We need to talk, Derek said through the door. No, we don't. You destroyed Dad's business over a grudge, over something that happened almost a year ago. When are you going to let this go? When you give me back the 8 months of my marriage you stole. When you unfuck my wife. When you make my family not choose you over me. Get the fuck off my property. Emma started crying. Derek started yelling about how I was being childish and petty, how I was punishing Dad for their mistakes. Called the cops. They left before the squad car arrived. Haven't seen them since. Sarah had our son in June. Named him James. 8 pounds, 3 ounces, perfect. She was incredible through the whole labor. Didn't scream, didn't curse me out, just gritted her teeth and got it done. We spent 3 days in the hospital, just the 3 of us in our own little bubble. Her parents flew back out, brought us groceries and baby supplies, and spent hours holding James while we slept. Her dad taught me how to change diapers properly, which was humiliating but necessary. You're doing good, kid, he said while we were both elbow deep in baby wipes. Not many guys step up like this, especially with everything else you got going on. My divorce finalized in July. Emma tried to get alimony since she's not working. Stayed home after the pregnancy because Derek's income couldn't support both households. Judge wasn't sympathetic, especially after the cheating came out in discovery. Split our assets 50-50, which meant I got to keep most of my savings since they were pre-marriage accounts. Emma got the house, the one I bought, because the judge felt bad for her or something. Whatever. Wasn't going back there anyway. The loan judgment came through in August. Court ordered Dad to pay the full $70,000 plus another $8,000 in interest and legal fees. Total of $78,000. He'll never pay it. Doesn't have it. But now it's on his credit report. Follows him around. Any assets he tries to build, I can go after. Won't need to, though. He's 61, broke, and scrambling to find work in an industry where everyone now knows he couldn't make good on a family debt. Career's effectively over. My apartment lease was up in September. Sarah and I found a bigger place together. Actual house with a yard. James's room is bright yellow, because Sarah insisted it would be cheerful. We have a dog now, too. Some mutt from the shelter that James is going to grow up with. It's good. Quiet. Normal. Sarah's parents visit once a month. They treat me like their own son, which is weird, but nice. Her mom texts me recipes and baby tips. Her dad sends me articles about lawn care and home repair, like I'm joining some secret club of suburban dads. Meanwhile, my actual family is silent. No Christmas cards, no calls, nothing. Found out through Facebook, because I'm still a glutton for punishment, that Emma had her baby in August. A girl. Derek posted a photo from the hospital, with some caption about being blessed. Comments were full of my family congratulating them. Dad saying he was proud. Mom talking about being a grandmother. Jen posting heart emojis. Not one mention of James, who'd been born 2 months earlier. Sarah caught me looking at my phone that night, jaw clenched. You okay? Yeah, just seeing what I'm not missing. She took James from his bouncer and came to sit next to me. You know we're your family now, right? Me, James, my parents. That's it. That's your team. I know. So stop checking up on people who don't check up on you. They don't deserve the real estate in your head. She was right. Deleted Facebook that night. Instagram too. Blocked every family member's number except Mom's. Kept that one unblocked just in case something happened to Dad. Not because I care, but because I'd want to know when karma finally collected. Update. 3 weeks ago, Mom called. First time in 6 months. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Your father had a heart attack, she said without preamble. Is he alive? Yes. He's at St. Mary's. They did surgery. He's stable, but it was close. Okay. Silence. She clearly expected more. You're not going to come see him? Why would I? He's your father. He almost died. And? Her voice broke then. How can you be so cold? After everything, you can't even visit him in the hospital? After everything. That's good. Let's talk about everything. Let's talk about how he called me overdramatic for being upset about my wife cheating. Let's talk about how he supported Derek and Emma over his own son. Let's talk about how he skipped my son's baby shower but went to Emma's. Let's talk about how he thought he could stiff me on a $250,000 loan because we're family. Which part of everything should motivate me to come hold his hand right now? He's sick. Can't you put aside your pride for one day? Is Derek there? What? At the hospital. Is Derek there visiting? Well, yes, of course. He's family. Then Dad's got all the family he needs. You made it pretty clear whose family I'm not. You're being a child. I'm being exactly what Dad taught me to be. Someone who doesn't cry about getting screwed over. Someone who moves on and handles their business. That's what real men do, right? Hung up before she could respond. Sarah heard the whole conversation from the kitchen. Came over and just hugged me without saying anything. James was asleep in his crib, completely oblivious to the drama. You sure you're okay with this? She asked eventually. He had a heart attack, and my first thought was, I hope this doesn't affect the loan judgment. That tell you where we're at? Kinda brutal, babe. Yeah, well, sometimes brutal is the only option left. Haven't heard from anyone since. Dad's apparently recovering fine. Mom's staying with Jen. Derek and Emma are probably planning Christmas with their perfect new family. And me? I'm sitting in my living room at 2 a.m. because James decided sleep was for suckers. Sarah's passed out on the couch with her mouth open, looking like she just survived a war. The dog is snoring on the floor. My divorce is final. My family's gone, and I'm somehow happier than I've been in years. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.